the relationship that you foster, the relationship that you build over time, where they come back to you, they share things with you, for all intents and purpose, you are their parent. You really, in a lot of instances, the only parent they know.
There are a lot of youth in the foster care system that do need different foster homes and foster parents that would be able to deal with any variety of behaviors and children, and just be open to helping out. Traditional foster care is just being a home. Like, you get a call about a youth that's needing a resource, a child just coming into the home, needing that care, that nurturing, just like any other child. The goal is to be in a traditional foster parent, or just being a foster parent period, is to give that child just that nurturing at the time of the crises that's happening, and to work as the actual foster care system and the social workers and the whole team is working with the family to put them back together, just making sure that the children are okay and that there is some consistency and some stability in order for them to make it back home. Whenever possible, that is the first choice, putting children with relatives. Sometimes the relatives can be out of order as well. So that's when you start looking into the kinship, trying to just make sure that this child is with someone that they felt made them safe, and that they would be able to be with the less amount of trauma.
With Gabe, I think it was kind of like a surprise. We didn't know that his cousin even had a son. We weren't aware of that process at all.
And him being my cousin's son, that kind of motivated me to want to try to get him out of the system too, because he was already in foster care and placed in a home, and I just felt like he'd be better off, with his own family. If you can find family for the children, it keeps them in their natural family unit, to whereas when they're separated, they always wondering, about that part of their life, and they go searching and looking. But if you can keep it all together, I think it just does a whole lot more for a child.
A medical foster parent is a foster parent who can actually help with different medical diagnoses that a child may have. And so we're able to train a family who's willing to be trained, or if there's any nurses or doctors or anyone in the medical profession who would want to be a resource to those children who are struggling with different type of medical diagnoses, that is going to have a little bit more time where they're at a hospital or at a clinic or at the doctor's office, or there's certain procedures that they have to sustain their life. Someone who is going to be really committed and be able to navigate the medical profession, or just all of that, to make sure that this child is getting the best care that they can have. Treatment foster care is the highest level of foster care. Treatment foster care is where it's like therapeutic. You're gonna have to be able to deal with the actual behaviors or the trauma that particular child has. So it's all about trying to tailor their treatment to them. So you become part of the treatment team, but you're also their family. So then that gives the consistency, the stability that they're needing.
You feel the impact greatly. It's not something that you're going to feel the impact of immediately. You're not going to get immediate gratification in doing this. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes for the children to leave and to be able to come back. I started doing treatment foster care probably about 8 or 9 years ago. I started off with a different agency when they very first got their treatment foster home going, treatment foster care going, and then I've switched over and I've been with Cornerstones since. But after you've done this for a while, you start to see some children come in your home. They have a little bit of a rougher time getting settled, getting situated, and only sometimes that child has been through more trauma than the next kid have. And just because life has offered them a bad hand, it doesn't mean they don't still need the help.
Respite care is kinship placement. A respite placement will take the youth or the child for a weekend and just be like weekend getaway for that child.
My name is Helen Livingston. I've been retired 6 years, and I said to Steve, I think we have time on my hands, and I would like to be a foster parent and do respite care. 2-3 days, week, sometimes 2 weeks, but it was a defined amount of time. And I can give my time in that way. I have them for 3 days of their life, and maybe I'm not going to make that big of an impact, but I can treat them with respect and, dignity, and just give them a little window of, of the other side.
You meet so many other children, and you find out that they're all just children, and they all have one thing in common, and that is they want to be loved and they want to be understood. But patience is the key. If you have patience with the children and understand where they're coming from, what we as foster parents do, we establish relationships that last for a lifetime.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. Be sure to stay tuned for our last video on how you can get started. If you are ready to get started on your journey today to becoming a foster care parent, you can complete an interest form on our website. Again, thank you.